in history that will be fully reusable.
Yeah, and we cannot forget that between the two vehicles is the hot stage ring, a structure made of steel that allows the ship's engines to ignite while still attached to the booster, enabling a faster and more efficient stage separation. Right now, that hot stage ring is single use, but in the future, it will be built in directly to the V3 booster forward end.
And finally, the infrastructure built to support Starship is referred to as Stage 0. This includes the launch pads, tank farm, and the launch towers, which hold the chopsticks that catch the Super Heavy booster and eventually will also catch the ship.
Yeah, and to get us ready for launch today, we recently conducted another static test fire, basically where we fire up the engines to mimic a launch without actually launching. You're seeing the booster on the screen right now. It's a crucial milestone to let us know we're ready to go. And then here we're seeing ship. We did this for the second time on a retrofitted mount on pad 1. We had a full 9-second duration burn on all 6 engines.
We should also note that today's launch on pad 1 is intended to be the last launch on this pad in this configuration. As we head into the next generation Starship flight test program, we'll be modifying pad 1 to meet the demands of our future missions.
Yeah, and among many other things, we're installing a new orbital launch mount, a new flame trench system, and upgrading the chopsticks for future catches. So until that's complete, we'll be running operations from pad 2, which will be coming online very soon. All right, let's go over to Hawthorne, where Tyler is ready to talk a little Starlink.
Thank you, Jake and Amanda. My name is Tyler Lionquist, and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX. Starlink is SpaceX's low Earth orbit, high-speed internet that's bringing connectivity both on Earth and in space. So Starship is outfitted again today with 4 Starlink terminals, powering those incredible live shots of ship in orbit, through re-entry, and then all the way down to splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Now, we've had a couple of recent milestones that are worth celebrating. Back in September, we launched Starlink for its 300th time, and this summer, we surpassed 7 million active customers with service available across 150 countries and territories. We've come a really long way since turning on service for our first paying customer in rural Idaho 5 years ago, back in October of 2020.
Maples are looking beautiful.
I'm Wendy Layer. I live in Sandpoint, Idaho, and we are the first Starlink customers.
With Starlink, we didn't have to compromise on where we live due to the lack of technology.
The minute they turned it on, we could stream a movie, we could video chat, we could play games on the internet without a lot of lag. I changed jobs earlier this year, so now I actually have the ability to work remote.
Here's my house. Program runs on the cloud. I can send anything I want out to get prices and designs.
I like to bake, so I've been able to research recipes and try new things.
Good day, go for a walk.
Good day for a walk.
We can live very rural, and yet we are connected to anybody like in the city.
And I'm happy to report that Wendy and Sean are still Starlink customers today. So in just over 5 years, we've added dedicated services for aviation, maritime, RVs, and rail, and have expanded our emergency response capabilities. We've activated high-quality internet for millions of people, including those that live in some of the most remote places on Earth. Starlink is enabling rural school districts, counties, and tribal governments to offer online access to education, telemedicine, and many other critical services, in some cases for the first time ever. And yet, a third of the planet continues to go without access to reliable high-speed internet, so there's a lot more work for us to do. But Starlink was designed from the very beginning to meet these needs. And as each new version of Starlink comes online, the constellation's capacity and performance increases significantly. The larger V3 satellites that will deploy from Starship will bring gigabit connectivity to users and are designed to add 60 terabits per second of downlink capacity to the Starlink network. That's more than 20 times the capacity added with every V2 mini launch on the Falcon 9. And then on the cellular front, last month, SpaceX announced a deal that provides Starlink with exclusive spectrum for its next generation direct-to-cell satellites, which will be capable of providing broadband service to cell phones globally. Starlink is the largest 4G coverage provider on Earth. Over 7 million people across 5 continents already rely on Starlink to connect their LTE phones to data, voice, video, and messaging, where terrestrial service is unavailable. So we're excited to have the opportunity to help close those coverage gaps and ultimately eliminate mobile dead zones around the world. So yeah, there's a lot happening with Starlink, and there's a lot more to come. So let's head back to Amanda and Jake at Starbase to take us through today's flight profile.
Thank you so much, Tyler. So today's flow profile, we're looking to get our second re-entry with this iteration of ship. And prior to every launch, we work closely with the FAA and international air traffic organizations to efficiently and safely integrate launch and re-entry operations into the airspace.
And we've got a special guest here.
Today.
We're live.
What's up, guys?
How's it going? Good to see you, boss.
Hi.
Hey. How's webcam?
Good. We're live right now.
What the?
Yeah. Getting ready for Flight 11. How are you feeling for it?
Good. This is the first time that I'm going to be actually outside standing and watching the rocket. Because normally I'm in mission control and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But now I'll be standing out in the garden there.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
it's really going to be much more visceral.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna feel
Great
it.
place
It's
to
gonna be.
watch.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be awesome.
When it's launching?
We'll be in here this time, but usually we're out there watching. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All
Good
right,
luck
Later.
and have fun.
Have fun.
All right, so that was an exciting cameo there. But yeah, starting with liftoff, we'll get into the flight profile here. Super Heavy will ignite 33 engines, 24 of which are flight proven today. We'll power through ascent ahead of hot stage separation, where booster will shut down all but 3 engines. Stage 2 lights as Raptor engines while still attached to Super Heavy. That is what we call hot stage separation. We'll see a directional booster flip and engine relight for boost back. And we'll be intentionally headed to a splashdown in the Gulf with a V3 style landing burn demonstration today.
Meanwhile, ship will continue with its ascent burn to a suborbital trajectory, where it will attempt to deploy 8 Starlink simulator satellites. And we're also planning to relight a single Raptor engine. Then it's time for a re-entry, where we're once again testing the limits of Starship's heat shield by intentionally removing tiles. The ship will also perform a pretty dynamic banking maneuver that mimics the path of a return to launch site for catch that will fly on a future mission. And if all that goes as planned, we'll conclude the test with a landing flip, burn, and soft water splashdown in the Indian Ocean. So definitely another action-packed flight profile, Dan.
This is planned to be the final launch of this version of Starship, version number 2. Right now, we're actively building multiple next-generation V3 Starship and Super Heavy vehicles in the factory, kind of right behind us, so let's take a minute and nerd out a little bit. All right. Those are going to be launching from Pad 2, which is nearing completion down here at Starbase. Both the pad and the vehicles are going to roll in really significant changes. This is building on everything we've learned from all of these flight tests to make a vehicle that we're looking to mass produce. Starting with the Starship upper stage, which is going to look pretty similar on the outside, but it's getting pretty much a complete overhaul under the hood. We're getting major design changes to its propulsion system that's going to accommodate that new version of Raptor, which puts out higher thrust. We're also getting an energy storage upgrades, tons of avionics changes, a lot of things that will enable longer duration missions. One notable thing you'll start seeing on the outside are these new docking adapters, which we'll use when we bring 2 Starships together for propellant transfer. That's a core capability of Starship that we're going to demonstrate next year. Bottom line, though, this is the Starship we're planning to use for all of our next major milestones: orbital missions, return to launch site and catch, reuse, propellant transfer, and then making our way to the moon and Mars. Now, Super Heavy, we've shown some of this off, some of this hardware already coming out of the factory. It has upgrades like this, a redesigned fuel transfer tube. That thing's roughly the same size as the first stage of a Falcon 9 rocket. That channels all that cryogenic fuel down to Super Heavy's 33 engines. We made it bigger. It's basically a rocket inside of our rocket that gives us a faster, more reliable flip and simultaneous engine startup. New booster also going to have an integrated hot stage, a lot more vent area, and it's designed to be fully reusable. Pressure from those engine plumes gets vented out, mostly offset just by the pressure in the fuel tank. That is the top of the fuel tank. And then we add a non-structural layer of steel on the top that helps take all the heating. It's mapped to where all the high heating goes. Grid fins also getting a big change, going from 4 down to 3. They're 50% larger, though, much higher strength. They're also going to get used for vehicle lift and catch. That's all made possible. There's a new catch point addition on those grid fins. We've also kind of reclocked their position on the booster. That aligns them with the catch arms. Yeah, we got it right in the middle there. All right, and then powering it all, Raptor 3. Looks radically different, just straight up radical. Tons of major changes. It's coming in higher thrust, dramatic reduction in parts, Tons of control mechanisms moved inside. Our McGregor teams built some additional stands like this one, which essentially is the bottom of a super heavy booster, lets us do gimbal or steering tests. So that's been really exciting to see. We've also been getting vacuum versions of Raptor 3 into test. The first flight engines are already in production and are about to start acceptance testing for Flight 12. So a lot of exciting changes coming, and we're getting ready to mass produce everything, including one of the really key contributors to that rapid reusability, the heat shield tiles. Let's jump over to Tyler real quick in Hawthorne, who's got a really cool look at what's happening with tiles in Florida.
Thank you, Dan. Indeed, Starship's heat shield is the linchpin to full and rapid reusability. We can't launch, land, refuel, and launch again if we have to spend months refurbishing the heat shield after every launch, like they did in the Space Shuttle program. So, in a future where Starship is flying several times a day, many, many thousands of heat shield tiles will be required. So yeah, we need to get cooking on those tiles, which is exactly what's happening inside the fully automated bakery down at the Cape. In just 3 years, tile production at the bakery has surpassed the total number of tiles produced during the 30 years of the shuttle program. To go from the raw material to a finished tile, it takes about 40 hours. And today, the bakery is producing about 1,000 tiles a day. But it's set up to produce enough tiles for 10 ships per month, which is about 7,000 tiles a day, or a tile off the line every 13 seconds. So yeah, the bakery is well on its way to providing Starship with all the tiles for missions to Mars and beyond. And for today's flight, we've made a modification to the heat shield tiles. Dan, do you mind filling us in on what's being referred to as the Crunchwrap tile?
Absolutely. I always love to get to do a little show and tell. So we've got thousands of these heat shield tiles covering Starship. Now they're kind of all next to each other. There's a small gap in between all of them. You got to leave a little bit of space as that metal underneath will expand and contract. That way they don't crunch into each other and start breaking. However, that lets some of that plasma kind of seep through, and we see really high heating on the sides and then down on the metal. To help fix that, we have this, the crunch wrap that everyone has heard about. So we take essentially that's called Vulcan felt that we then wrap around. And so as these tiles are next to each other, you've got a small bit in between that's going to help offset that heating. It's just one of the ways we're continuing to iterate on this heat shield, getting towards rapid reusability. Hopefully it's going to help Starship live Moss. You know, everything is just going to get us to that end state of a fully and rapidly reusable vehicle. So pretty much the entire vehicle has those on it today. We've done this on multiple Starships previously, but this time pretty much the whole vehicle has it. So that was special for today. All right, enough heat shield tiles. Let's go quick check-in on the pad. So if you did notice, we did shift our T0 just a little bit. We're now counting down to 6:23 and 41 seconds Central Time. We shifted a little bit as we were working to finish clearing the range. We are monitoring sea and airspace, both here over the Gulf and in our splashdown location over on the Indian Ocean. We were working with the FAA, a lot of other international agencies to coordinate all of this. Good news, range is currently green. We're able to get everything out of the way that we are tracking in the Gulf. So weather status, I don't even really need to do, not a cloud in the sky, beautiful day, no probability of violation for launch at this point. We're not currently tracking any issues on the vehicle or the pad. You can see our fill levels are getting up there. We're almost completely done with our propellant loading. We've gone through all of our checkouts so far this morning, aligning our guidance, navigation, and control system, getting the vehicles ready for prop load, the farm. Everything has gone pretty smoothly so far. We got through our go, no go for prop load. That happens at T-minus 1 hour and 15 minutes. We've been loading fuel and locks on board the ship since about 53 minutes before launch. Boosters started just about 10 minutes after that. We continue loading prop until just around 3 minutes before liftoff, and then at that point we'll be ready to go. So bottom line at the moment, we're looking real good. Again, 6:23 and 41 seconds Central Time is our target T0, so we're going to keep counting down.
Sounds like great news so far. Thank you, Dan. And we do say it repeatedly because it's important to understand, but these flight tests are all about the data. Data helps us build and fly faster until we're eventually ready to fly people and cargo at scale to Mars. That is our foundational mission and basically just the major inspiration for our work here every day.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Amanda. And our first missions to the Red Planet are just down the road, and we recently shared some exciting news. Starship cargo flights to the Martian surface for research, development, and exploratory missions begin in 2030, and we already have our first customer.
Yeah, exactly. Starship is open for business, and one of the first payloads will be provided by the Italian Space Agency. They recently signed a first-of-its-kind agreement to carry Italian experiments on the initial Starship missions that deliver customer payloads to Mars. In related news, Starship cargo flights to the surface of the Moon for research, development, and exploratory missions will start in 2028. So a ton of Starship activity to look forward to, and if you'd like to learn more about our mission to making humanity multiplanetary, go ahead and visit spacex.com/Mars. Okay, now as we get closer to launch, development continues down here at Starbase, Texas, to shape this growing city into a truly unique place to live and work. And part of being a city, particularly one surrounded by nature, is environmental stewardship. The nearby Boca Beach dunes have unfortunately been eroding at an alarming rate for some time, so SpaceX is teaming up with Cameron County and the city of Starbase to stop that erosion and hopefully preserve the beach for years to come.
Yeah, and as one of its first permanent residents and someone who's actually called Starbase home for over 3 years now, I can tell you the beach totally adds to the uniqueness and awesomeness of living here. Starbase is truly unlike any other place on Earth. You know, where else can you see the world's biggest rocket every single day?
Yeah, Starbase is definitely the place to be, and we're always looking for more people to come help build the future of spaceflight.
Yeah, particularly engineers, especially for our propulsion and mechanical system teams.
You could be working on tests just like these ones, proving out the designs of our next generation Super Heavy booster. Fun fact, we actually tested the booster to 13,400 tons of thrust, which is more than the power of 3.5 Saturn V rockets, which is just crazy. We're also looking for civil and structural engineers to help literally build the future.
Whether it's buildings like the Gigabays currently going up at both Starbase and the Cape, each is a massive vertical integration and assembly facility with over 700,000 square feet of workspace. Both sites are currently in progress, actually going vertical as we speak. Or you could be designing the Starship launch sites of the future. There's really no shortage of future to build here. So visit spacex.com/careers to see all of our openings if you're interested.
Okay, now as we head into terminal count, all eyes are on the rocket. Dan, how are we looking? Are we green?
Amanda, we are so green. Everything's still looking really good. So we've got a green range, not tracking any blockers there to launch. We're continuing to load prop on board the vehicle. We're just about to close out, so we'll close out, again, just about 3 minutes and 20 seconds before liftoff. We'll close out on ship, and then booster just about 30 seconds later. And then you end up with about 11 million pounds of liquid propellant on board those two stages. After we're fully loaded on the vehicle, the pad itself gets ready for launch. We do what's called pushbacks. We clear all that prop out of the lines in the tower and the feed system back into the tanks to get ready for launch. And then in the next couple of minutes, we're going to do our final GNC guidance, navigation, and control system alignment. We're going to arm the automatic flight safety system, and then we're going to do final kind of wiggle checks on the steering for the engines, which we might be able to catch a quick peek at as we get closer to those. If we need to hold, which we are not currently tracking a reason to, that would happen at T-minus 40 seconds. It's built into our countdown. We can pause and wait there for any final checkouts, anything that we need to hold for.
Once we pass that T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure, and ship switches to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction shortly after T0. Now, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, if any problems come up, we do still have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and hold there to assess what happened and then see if we can proceed again to liftoff.
Yep, however, once the water for the deflector system begins flowing at T-minus 10 seconds, any issue after that would be an automatic scrub for the day, as teams would need to refill the deflector's water tanks as well as the propellant storage tanks at the tank farm before making another attempt.
All right, we are coming up on 3 minutes away from launch. You can see the frost line all the way up. We've just closed out prop load onto the ship. Booster coming up shortly. Yeah, in about 10 seconds, we'll finish loading prop on the booster, and then again, we'll have about 11 million pounds of that liquid oxygen, liquid methane on board the vehicles. Not currently tracking a reason to hold at T-minus 40. It can pop up at the last moment or after we pass that gate. We can always hang out there for a couple of minutes if we need to. We do have some extra time. We're not constantly topping off the propellant in these vehicles, so we have about a 7-8 minute window where we can wait for any final issues to clear. We're not currently tracking a reason to hold there. Again, our range continues to be green as we look at sea and airspace both out over the Gulf and in our reentry zone out in the Indian Ocean. All right, 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go. A lot of things on tap for Flight 11. Planned to be the last launch of this version of Starship and Super Heavy. Once again, we're really focused on getting ship over to reentry. Once we get to that phase, we're going to dive in. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be happening on our way back through and down to the ground, hopefully out in the Indian Ocean. Minute 45. Should hopefully be seeing. There's a quick wiggle check. Checking out the thrust vector control, the steering on the booster. We use those inner 13 engines. Doing their one final dance before the big show. And we'll do that one more time after we cross that T-minus 40 gate. All right, range continues to be green. Still not tracking any issues on vehicle or pad. 1 minute to go. As a reminder, we can hold at T-minus 40. We're not planning to. All right. We're through T-minus 40. Let's listen in. Flight Director Ty Huntington back in the seat. Take us through the final
Flight
seconds
Directors, go for launch. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Go Super Heavy. Go Starship. Thanks for all the historic flights, Pad 1.
Eagles pitching downrange. Booster Raptor chamber pressure nominal.
Booster and ship nominal power and telemetry.
All right, we are about 45 seconds into flight. We're still getting the rattle here at Star Factory. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines lit on Super Heavy as it arcs across the Gulf. Coming up next on Max Q.
Max Q.
So at this point, we've passed through that period of maximum aerodynamic pressure. The next thing we're looking forward to is going to be hot staging. So we've got 33 out of 33 Raptors lit. Super Heavy makes its way uphill. Hot staging is going to be coming up in just a little over a minute. At that point, we're going to see all but 3 of those Raptor engines on Super Heavy shut down. Our version of MECO. Most engines cut off instead of main engine. And then after that, we're going to release the clamps that are currently holding Starship to that hot stage adapter. It's then going to ignite its 6 Raptor engines to push it away from Super Heavy and then start making its flight uphill. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to see the engine start to shut down on Super Heavy. You'll see them kind of shut off in separate banks until we've just got those 3 center engines that never stop running for this process, and then looking for 6 ship Raptors. All right. Miko coming up in about 10 seconds. See the engines throttling down.
Booster engine cutoff. Ship ignition. Stage separation. Boost back burn startup.
All right, successful hot staging maneuver. So we've got 12 of the 13 engines lit back up on boosters, so it's doing its boost back. Real excitingly, though, we've got 6 out of 6 Raptors lit on ship there, so it's now going to continue to make its ascent into outer space. Meanwhile, this boost back is happening. We're using those 13 engines, so everything, well, 12 out of the 13, and then we go down to 3, and then we're going to shut down for the end of boost back. That's sending Super Heavy back towards its planned splashdown zone in the Gulf. Right after we finish this boost back burn, we're also going to separate the hot stage. This will be the final time that we're doing this. Is all right, there's the end of the boost back burn. We should be seeing the hot stage. So the hot stage separates, it's going to make its way down, also splash down in the Gulf. In the meantime, though, these 6 ship Raptors are going to continue firing for about 5 more minutes. Next up for the booster, though, is going to be its landing burn. There's a cool tracking shot. We dump some of the prop out on our way back in. All right, so for booster, this is one of the main things we're trying to get is going to be this landing burn. Oh, that's so you can see the hot stage kind of making its way towards the left side. So that's the bottom of the booster. It's about to pass right in front of where you can see some of that prop dump happening. They look like they're close together, but there's a good amount of distance between them, and the hot stage will go down and splash down in the Gulf while the booster comes back for its landing burn.
Starship is on nominal trajectory.
All right. Looking good on our trajectory, looking good on everything. Jake and Amanda, you guys with me down there?
Yeah, definitely. The crowd is gathering over here in the office. You can definitely feel the energy in here. Great to see that booster is making its way down to the splashdown zone in the Gulf.
Yeah, the shaking down here was absolutely nuts. The windows are still there, still intact. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, booster's coming down. We're at about 30 kilometers. All right, yeah, and as we approach that landing, just like tower catches, we will be doing a 13-engine landing burn to slow down. This time it will be in a V3 configuration. And as we're starting to get into the denser part of the atmosphere, the booster is using 4 hypersonic grid fins to guide itself through atmospheric entry towards its landing site.
And we're just about 20 seconds away from landing burn start, where we'll first ignite the center 13 engines, then bring that down to 5 to slow down the booster for landing. And finally, that will come down to 3, and we'll cut all of them off while we're still about 200 meters in the air. So booster is gonna see a bit of a harder
Booster landing burn startup. Booster landing burn shutdown.
And there we heard it, booster landing burn shutdown. We saw a 13 to 5 to 3 V3 demonstration, and into the water we go. Wow, that was absolutely awesome. If you can even hear us right now, congrats to the whole SpaceX team. So far, so good for today. That was incredible.
All right, great stuff, guys. I'm jealous of the crowd. All right, back to ship. Ship's still making its way. We've got a little under 2 minutes left in this ascent burn, so we've got all 6 Raptor engines still firing. So the next major milestone we're going to be looking for is SECO. That's our second stage engine cutoff. That's should be coming right at about 8 minutes and 58 seconds into flight, so we've got about 1:20 still to go. Really cool to see Booster go through that landing burn. That was one of our really key demonstrations we wanted to try and do today. That's mimicking what we're going to be hopefully doing. Oh, we just got our sonic boom, it sounds like, from the booster coming back. All right, less than a minute to go. So we are going to see the 3 RVACs, the vacuum optimized engines, shut down first, and then we'll shut down those 3 center engines. So we should be a little under a minute until SECO. Just a reminder, this is putting us into a suborbital trajectory, so we're intentionally just going slow enough that we're not going to achieve full orbit. This puts us on a course where those engines shut off, and no matter what, we're coming back.
Starship is in terminal guidance.
In the Indian Ocean. All right, terminal guidance. So we should start seeing the shutdowns come up in just a couple seconds. Less than 30 seconds to go in this ship ascent burn. All right, RVACs have shut off. 3 more to go.
Ship engine cutoff.
All right, all ship Raptors have shut down.
Nominal orbit insertion.
You just heard nominal orbital insertion, so we are on the path that we wanted to be. So we've got a ship back in space, a whole lot planned for it, lots more still to come. Great seeing Super Heavy make its way to the water, but I'm excited to see what ship can do in space. How's everybody doing down there?
Yeah, if you could hear the crowd behind us this whole time, people are definitely happy with how the day's been panning out so far. Definitely exciting to see Starship safely in space, and super pumped to see all the team's hard work in action here today.
Yeah, and we guaranteed it at the start of the show, but it has been an awesome day so far. It's crazy. All this has happened in just 10 minutes. All the objectives were met on the booster, including that V3 style landing burn. So now all eyes are on the ship as we get ready for our in-space objectives. But we've got a few minutes until that next milestone, so sit tight, enjoy the views, enjoy the space jams. We'll be back at T+16 minutes for payload deploy.